leave my microphone on. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or if anything was left unclear. I really hope that it's been useful for you.
Yeah, there are some questions, and we want to see if the people who ask the questions in the chat, would they like to come and ask the question themselves? So if that's the case, please raise your hands. Otherwise, Teresa and I will be reading your questions for you. But I think it makes it interesting if you can converse in person. So please raise your hand if any of you want to. In the meantime, when they're deciding if they want to raise the hand or not, I have one question for you. Cristina, yeah, it was all good points. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
And you talked about the contractions.
Yes.
As a company, like we have customers in so many different countries,
Yeah.
and we only communicate with English. We don't have the other languages right now. When we write it, we are mindful of how it translates in other languages. When we use contractions, does it translate okay in the other languages?
I was thinking about that when I was writing it, because in Spanish, because I write in Spanish as well, we don't have those contractions, but there is definitely, I would say this applies with the kind of words that you use.
Okay.
If there is, I think that when you are in your own business, because it's your day-to-day job, you understand everything that goes on. But when you have someone who's never heard of you and you have this fresh eyes, they're like, what are they talking about? And you want to make sure that if it's the first time that someone finds your website, that it's easy for them to understand what you do, how you do it, and why. And people have very short attention spans. They immediately want to see, how am I being benefited from what you're doing? What am I going to gain? I understand that for chocolate, you're not solving, like, it's a luxury, right? But you want to see the benefits. You want to feel good. You want to be able to understand that. I've seen this in a lot of websites as well. When you say about us, they never say who they are. They don't say the names. Who are you? It's very simple. So contractions in English, I would say always yes. If you believe in some points you have to use the whole words, that's fine. If it feels better with your own personality, do that. And if you're using it in other languages, if it's being too formal, too stiff, and you have really long words, if you can find a shorter version of doing it, always do the easier, shorter version. Okay. I don't know if I responded.
Yes. Okay.
I saw that someone said a quick summary of the 5 points. Yes. So the first point was the golden circle. Tap into your why. Why are you doing this? And the tip to get to your why. I mean, first I would say watch the 𝗬𝗵𝗁 video, because it's going to motivate everybody. And ask yourself 5 whys to get into your deeper why of what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. Tip number 2 was to share what you do and choosing your channels in a realistic way. If you think you can only handle your website and your blog, just do that. If you can do your website, your blog, and Facebook because that fits with your personality and your clients, do that. If you only want to do Instagram and your website, do that. I don't think that there's a formula where you have to say, yeah, you have to use 10,000 social media channels and you can only do it at Wednesday at 10:30. No, you have to test it out. There's no one formula. So number 2 is share what you do, choose your channels and be realistic. Number 3 is find your voice and write like you talk. So cut the stiffness, the robotics, and loosen up. Don't worry about a blank page. Don't be intimidated. Just do the first draft and then go over it, but find your voice. If when you're reading it, it sounds fake, go over it and find your voice. Within these finding your voice, this is where I said, use the contractions to make it easier and more conversational, and read out loud. If when you're reading out loud, it feels like, when I was, when I was doing this presentation, I thought of the, in 𝗪𝗫𝗫, the film, the old film from 𝗪𝗫𝗫, her father was a salesman and he used to sell cars, and he's a very sleazy, and he tries to sell like bad cars for a high price. If you sound like that, go back and change it. So Third point was to find your voice, contractions, and don't sound like a robot, and communicating transparency. So be open, do your research, show the real you, and back up your claims, and try and find the ways where you can weave in transparency, but only if this is a value that is important to you. Don't just do it because, oh, we're in the transparency era, I have to be green and I do it, because it'll come through. This will only work if it's something that's important to you. Yes, I think that was a summary. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, somebody's asking, would Into Choco be good to join as a cocoa grower who also produces their own tree-to-bar brand of chocolate?
So right now, the way to join Into Choco is through a chocolate brand. So the chocolate brand signs up, and then they have their product. Say they have 3 chocolate bars, and each chocolate bar has a different supply chain. So automatically, their supply chain is absorbed. So if they have a trader and who their cocoa producers are, so they each get a chance to show who their profile is and a place to tell their story.
Yeah, but so, if they are their own producers of the beans.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're asking. If they're doing tree to bar, can they still do it? Because they are not going through a third party. They are producing.
We have one. We have one in Colombia that has their own plantation, and they do tree bar.
Okay. And then the next question is, okay, 1 second. Okay, yeah, the summary, okay. Okay, they want to know what's the main barrier for Into Choco faced in Europe before the why, how, and what.
I'm not sure if I understand the question. The barriers.
Yeah, I would like to know the main barriers. Oh, because in the beginning you talked about how, why, and what. So they want to know how Into Choco. So because what they're trying to solve, and how and why. You said the golden circle. So
yeah. So how the services, what the service is, how, what makes it different, and why I think when we started it, we did ask ourselves this a lot. It's like, we're a very diverse group of people with very strong opinions, but we're all motivated to see if we can make supply chains transparent, a normal thing, an everyday thing, where there's no exploitation of any kind of people or land, and that you don't have to justify all the time why craft chocolate is more expensive than a supermarket chocolate. It should just be obvious, like it is in specialty coffee or in craft beers or with specific wines. That was our why. How can we do this? We really want to do this. Everyone working in different parts of the sector, but that was our deeper why. Yeah.
Okay. Then somebody's asking, can you provide a link to Into Chocolate?
Yes. So if you do, actually, let me look it up. But if you do www.intochoco.com, you'll also get it. But let me type it in for you.
Okay. Yeah, if any of you, have any specific question, please feel free. Don't be shy.
Well, for example, if we were to talk about Cocoa Town, like I was telling you the other day, Mrs. Baloo, I don't know if you and your team had done this on purpose, but for me, it's quite impressive how like you've made your brand feel cool, like feel really cool. Like all the chocolate makers that I've run into, it's like when they show off the machines they have, it's a little bit like showing off their new car, right? Or like I was telling you the other day, it's like showing off their new tattoo. Like the way that you have managed to communicate this is, it feels very close and very open, but you've made it very cool. You've made machines cool. I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like it's part of your personality and the openness of how you talk to your clients in the beginning when you were starting everything. I think that's definitely come through.
Mrs. Balu, do you want to speak to, I have a thought about that, but do you want to speak to, did you, not to shift the conversation, but I love this idea of the coolness of CocoTown. Was that ever in your mind, you know, how you were going to convey the message?
No. See,
No,
all
right?
we wanted to do was do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in fact, I remember, you know, when we first had our marketing consultant and we were talking, and he was asking about the machine, and we said, yeah, we are doing this one, the stainless steel, so it can stay longer. And he said, if you don't have the plant obsolescence, how are you going to grow your business? We said, I don't know. In where we come from, we use our machines, like the mom uses it, and then when the daughter gets married, she passes on this, you know. That's where we are. And I don't believe in use and throw culture. So now, after like 15 years, he says, okay, I see what you believed you did, and then still you are growing. That they couldn't figure out. They thought if you don't have a planned obsolescence, the company cannot exist.
Yeah, I agree.
So we, like you said, maybe we were just always true in what we do. We never intentionally did anything for to be cool or anything like that. We just
So
had the 3 objectives and we just followed our objectives. So that is how you can say it, you know, like a.
well, so my question maybe for Cristina is, you know, it's possibly that that's you know, in meeting, you know, face-to-face meetings with the team, that's coming across. But
Yeah.
how do we, you know, you talk about contractions, and maybe can you use CocoTown and that idea of cool, which, I mean, I love it, but it's not something that we've intentionally put across in our branding, and maybe it is something that we should. So how would we, you know, as an example for people, how would we incorporate that idea into our
I think
branding?
it also, it has to feel natural to you. Like always, whenever you run a business or a brand, inevitably part of your personality is in your brand, right? And you can't appeal to everybody. Just like in real life, not everybody likes you, and you don't like everybody. There are specific brands that you're like, you're really drawn to, or some people that you're like immediately click and you're like, yeah, I just want to hang out with this person a lot more. And then there's some people where you're like, oh, a little less time here. So I think it has to come out natural. I would say maybe the coolness, like if you wanted to highlight that, I would interview people who have bought your machines and do like short little videos. What is it that they've liked about them? Because I've seen how they show it off like it's their brand new car. Like, look at this, you know. But because I think for chocolate makers, essentially their machines are something that they're really proud of. So, and someone said in the chat, you can see their passion shows. Like you can see that your team is very driven. And I can definitely see how the passion is conveyed in how you're doing these webinars, how you are helping people, connecting with other people, answering questions, being very open. And this comes through. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to think more about that idea of coolness and how do we get that, how do we incorporate that in our branding. But to shift away from CocoTown and back to sort of this idea of transparency, you know, there's a lot of things that along the value chain that are sort of ugly to look at.
Yeah.
Or ugly to think about. And how do you, I mean, one example, I don't even like to talk about it, but it's important to talk about, like the idea of child labor.
Yeah.
You know, there's some brands that I follow and that I love, but I get to be reminded every time I go to their page about the sadness of the idea of child slavery or child labor, it kind
Makes
of
you feel uncomfortable.
a little bit. And
Yeah.
I know that, you know, nothing's going to change if people don't feel uncomfortable, right? Being on that idea of being uncomfortable helps bring about change. But how do we talk about these messages without,
I also think that comes back to personality. Like if there are some brands that find these subjects extremely important and it's part of their values and it's something that that drives them, then by all means they can talk about it. But I think it's interesting, or it would be interesting to understand their train of thought. Like, show me why you're interested in this and show me what you're researching so that I can understand along with you. If you think that buying specific cocoa beans will help get rid of child labor, show me how. Like, I think it's more interesting to bring people along your journey of what you're discovering, to then just say, I pay more, so I'm more fair, so I'm making a bigger change. Yeah, but how? Right? Like, how much of the context are you understanding? It's a very hard subject. Just like talking about pricing in cocoa beans is a very hard subject. You need a lot of context to be able to understand this, right? You need to explain how much is what does $1 mean in Colombia and what does $1 mean in Venezuela or in Trinidad. Like, you need more context. You can't just say, oh, we're good because we do this. Does that make sense? And I don't think that as a brand, you have to have all of the answers. Just because you're making a high quality chocolate and you pay more for your cocoa beans, then you know everything. No. And it's okay to say you don't know everything, but bring us along your research. Like, back up, why is it higher quality? Show us who your partners are. It might be more interesting for you, like in these websites that you're saying, for you to hear the stories of the people who are involved in their supply chain and put faces to them, and their projects. I don't know, but I think that's also related to specific brands. And like in chocolate, I always think, okay, chocolate is for everybody. Yes, there's no like age for chocolate, but some ages, some personalities are more attracted to specific brands than others, right? Why? Because you click with certain, just like with people, you click with certain brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if anyone in the audience would like to come forward and talk to us about something that, you know, how they've included transparency in their branding and something that's worked and maybe something that hasn't, or even we can learn a lot from something that hasn't worked.
And also if it's something that is interesting for them to communicate, because I understand that it's a growing trend, and for some it's a pressure, and for some it's something that they've always incorporated. So I would be also interested in hearing, is this something that people want to incorporate in their communication? Do you want to talk about the things that make you transparent? But why? Like, why do you want to do this? And how you're doing it? That would be super interesting.
Yeah, anybody, there is a rate, if you haven't, if you're not Zoom savvy, there is a raise hand feature at the bottom. If you hover near the bottom of your screen, the toolbar will pop up and you'll see raise hand, and you'll be able to raise your hand. And if you do that, I'll open the mic for you and let you into the conversation.
So I see someone wrote, transparency ain't popular within the American culture. That's interesting.
Interesting.
But I wonder if it's not popular within a culture, is it important for you? You know, because I think if it's important for you, then you can find a way of talking about it and sharing it.
I mean, me personally, I'm only one consumer in American culture, and it's very important to me. I want to know, you know, I feel like my power is in where I put my dollars.
Yeah.
So it's really important for me to know where I give my money.
I understand. It's also, we are also in a time where there's many labels and certifications where we've lost trust in them, right? So to have a smaller craft chocolate business, I think is an opportunity, because you can easily tap into the information of your supply chains. So if you can say, what is it that makes you transparent, what you're working on, it's a massive value that bigger companies can't tap into or won't.
And I think keeping it simple might be important. And also you can be transparent about something as simple as, you know, are you sourcing local ingredients? Like you're making your chocolate, but are you you know, is there some regional fruit or something that you're buying locally? That's something that you can put in your brand that you're being transparent about. It's not all about sort of the, you know, I mentioned the ugly things, but it's also about letting people know, you know, that you're helping the local economy by buying your neighbor's, you know, whatever the offer is, their spice or something that they do, or are you, you know, getting your art done by a local artist? You know, that's something that you can be, you know, transparency doesn't have to be all about, you know, starting small, starting simple, and moving point by point the things that are important to you. I see you, our friend Annette from Trinidad has her hand raised, so I'm going to open her mic.
I already did it.
Oh,
Hi.
okay. Yes.
Hi there, I'm Annette in Trinidad. And one of the issues we are starting to do, this is with my farm, in terms of transparency and branding, is really sharing that we are on the farm working using sustainable agricultural practices. So we are growing our cocoa using as organic practices as we can to produce the cocoa. All right, and this ties in with the need for sustainable agriculture, for maintaining soil fertility, and for being organic. And of course, having the organic certification, which helps with your export if you're trying to enter at least European markets. All right. So even though we are not fully organic in terms of having, you know, certification to say that, in terms of our practices and growing the cocoa, because we are a tree to bar operation, very small. So we grow our own beans and then we do the transformation into the chocolate. So we are trying to brand both for our beans that we sell, or dried fermented beans, that they are grown in sustainable agricultural practices in a holistic way. And also to, if you buy our beans to make chocolate or any other products, you are guaranteed that this product is one that fits in with, you know, maintaining the environment, not just for today, but for the future. So that's one of the areas that we're trying to push in our branding for our beans and for any of our chocolates. And we've been trying to get a logo and a design, you know, that sort of fits in with that whole idea of sustainability and organic farming and so on. So I just thought I'd share that. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Do you want to share also the name of your brand? Maybe we can also look it up later. It would be great.
Well, the name of the company is 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗪 For those who know land, roots and perches, I suppose land. So that's and that's the name of our website, and we are in Trinidad, Trinidad and Tobago, but we're in Trinidad in tableland, and it's a small family-owned operation. So
Nice.
I think you should put your, you know, type in the chat, Annette. See, the other people here are, you know, because more people will be seeing this webinar in the future also. So if they want to get your beans, they can contact you directly. So that will help you because you don't have to go through the middleman. So it will be helpful for everyone. So feel free to type in your website and other information. Yeah, see, that's what we keep telling.
Thank
The
you.
people are so
Thank
shy.
you. Will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wnette, do you feel like being put on the spot? And let me ask you a question.
Okay. We'll try.
Okay, so just thinking about the presentation that we just heard, can you speak to us about what's your why?
Well, in terms of the why, two whys there. One, Trinidad and Tobago is known for growing best beans in the world. And we just thought that we had the land and this is an opportunity, so why not get into it? And secondly, the second why is just being to maintain the environment, in that you need to produce a product that does not, in the long run, you benefit, but you destroy the environment within which you're living. Doesn't make sense. So I think that would be two things: really capitalizing on something that we have inherently that's here in Trinidad and Tobago that we can use. It's natural. We are known for it, and we had the opportunity. So we got into the business, and then we want to ensure that we are doing it in a way that is environmentally supportive to the wider environment. Because on the farm, we grow the cocoa with other shade trees. So we have other tropical fruits. We have mangoes, we have bananas, we have breadfruit, avocados, and so on. And if you know cocoa really is like a forest thing. It grows in a shaded environment. So it's that sustainable, organic, sort of integrated approach to farming that we use. So that is our why, really. Okay. And so those are the two whys I would say in terms that we want to communicate in terms of the branding.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot.
Okay, that's all right.
Can I ask you one more question, Wnette? You talked about organic certification. Can you tell us how much does it cost, and do you see the value? Like, do you get that much profit when you sell your beans by paying that money?
It is expensive. I can't give you the cost offhand, but it's a long, tedious process if you're using any one of the agencies. I think there are two groups from America that you can get the certification from. It's a long process because you have to document and be evidence-based of all that you're doing, from input, bringing in your trees, growing the trees, etc., to ensure that it's really done in a sustainable way. So it takes a little while. And once you get the certification, I think the benefit is that, I know for the European market at least, it's important for many consumers in the European market do value beans coming from farms or farmers who can say they are certified in terms of organic certification. So, and therefore you can, based on that, command a higher price, because there would be customers who would pay for that because of their own needs, etc., etc. And we don't have in the Caribbean here, at least in Trinidad, issues with child labor. That's not an issue for us, okay? But we do have challenges with, I would say, overuse of chemicals, and you certainly want to minimize that in terms of use of chemicals and produce a crop. So right now in our farm, we do composting, and even looking at doing vermicomposting with the worms and so on to make our own compost. So when we cut the trees, we do the mulching and we keep the leaves and cut them up and put them back to the roots and so on to minimize the input of the imported. And it's costly too, because you have to buy the fertilizers. And now with the war in Ukraine and so on, fertilizers are even more expensive, and you just can't get it anyway. But it's a transition, you slowly, because many persons have grown up planting their cocoa using the chemicals, all right? And there are diseases like the black pod and so on. So you have to ensure that your husbandry is right. You have to maintain your shade, reduce shade, and so on. So, it's a kind of finding the balance to grow the cocoa with nature, but it's also has to do a lot with how you maintain your fields, how you plant your fields, the spacing, the amount of shade, etc. And doing your pruning, etc. to keep it down, rather than just putting on all the chemicals. So it's what really changing a bit your agricultural and your husbandry practices to grow the beans. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and me personally, I find if you express that well to me, I'm happy to buy. I don't need the certification. If I can trust, like you were saying, Cristina, if I can trust, you know, that you're doing these beautiful practices, I don't.
You're sold.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need you to pay the tens of thousands of dollars to get that certification to make me buy, to make me personally, to make me buy it. I'll buy it. You know, if you tell the story well and I believe you, I'll buy it.
Lena, since you have all this, you have to keeping the record for the certification. Why don't you try putting all that information in your website and see if any of the chocolate makers, they want to buy directly from you before you get the certification.
Okay. All right, that's an idea. That's an idea. Thanks. I've put the name of the website here.
Nice.
Roots and Veggies,
Wonderful.
Enterprises.com. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm not so tech savvy, so I hope I got it right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, somebody else is asking how you guys maintain the quality of your products. It's tied to the origin of the cocoa beans. I think, the answer is, talk to people like 𝗕𝗏𝗏, who is growing the beans, and talk to them directly, and then see how they maintain their, fermentation practices and drying practices and the quality. I think that would be good idea, but I think, are there any other chocolate makers can answer how you are doing it and help this Zoom? I know it says Zoom user, so I don't know the name. So anyone can answer this question? Okay, nobody is wanting to raise their hand. Okay, the same person put some other information, it says the European markets are more likely to stick to transparency just because they are great chocolate consumers, whereas the USA do not cultivate per se cocoa beans but import cocoa from all over the world. The European Union got programs to assess and promote good cocoa beans within the Caribbean area. But the one thing people forget is this 2-ingredient chocolate is actually called the new American chocolate, because the small chocolate, the bean to bar revolution started in USA. The people in USA were the first ones to start making the chocolate, and then it spread all over the world. So I don't think that we can say people, USA, and also in USA we have Hawaii. They cultivate the cocoa, right? They grow cocoa beans. So I don't know. I think USA also cares about the transparency. Anyways, all individual perception. Okay, and then. Okay, that's, he's also saying the transition is that many cocoa beans producing countries are shifting from being producers to create awareness into making chocolate. Yes, that we agree, because I know in Ghana, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast, they were the biggest producers of cocoa beans, about 74% together. They produced, but they were shipping all of them to Europe and other countries for processing. But now they are looking into processing in the origin. And I don't know, today it seems to be a very shy crowd. Nobody wants to talk.
I have a question. One of the things that you talked about was to find your voice and then to write like you talk. So, working for a company that is in over 100 countries around the world and markets to everyone around the world. How do you, so we have a challenge sometimes. So I can, if we're writing as we talk, how is that going to translate into all of the other languages? And maybe, I think you did kind of touch on that a little bit. I think.
Yeah. What I also mean when I say find your voice and write like you talk, it's a really great exercise to read what you write out loud. And if you run out of breath and then you get confused with what you've just written, then someone else will also get confused. So I think finding your voice is like your brand's personality, which inevitably has a bit of your own, and your values have to come through. I don't think that if you try and write in a way so that everybody likes you, it doesn't work, because then your own voice gets lost in how you think people will relate to you or how they're going to respond. You have to, I think, have very clear why you're doing what you're doing, how you're solving a problem for your clients, and make it easy for them to understand. So I think that maybe if you do have clients in different parts of the world and you have someone that's helping you translate, you do want to have it in their like own colloquial voice. It doesn't, and that doesn't mean you have to like be super slang and use like words that you think might make you sound cool, because in the end, people are going to be like, what are they talking about? But it has to be easily understood by everybody. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's
so
like,
what you say, probably the best thing to do if we're writing in English and it's going to be translated, around the world, is to keep it simple.
always keep it simple.
Sort of a less is more kind of idea.
Right? If you go to a website, you have 3 seconds to understand what people do and what they're solving and who it's for. It's 3 seconds. It has to be short, easy. And we're in the era of scrolling.
Yes.
You scroll, you don't read through the whole thing. That's why, and I don't know if you actively did this for your strategy, but your email marketing is like on point. It truly is the best way to communicate with your audience, because it's a captive audience. Like, I know email doesn't seem like as sexy as Instagram or TikTok or all of these things, but if people actively sign up to your website, it's because they are interested in hearing more about you. And okay, sometimes we get so many emails, you're like, oh my God, I can't read all of these newsletters. No, but you're going to be reading the ones that you are interested in. So if you are writing a newsletter, or if you are writing your website, don't wait till the very end to give me the juicy details. Tell me at the top, like, go direct to the point. Don't feel shy about saying, like, if you truly believe in what you're doing and you're proud of what you're doing, it's okay to say it. You don't have to be shy about it. You don't have to be like demure and people will find out that it's amazing. No, you are amazing because you are solving all of these things. Maybe not everybody's going to like it, but the people who've actively, joined your newsletter, who are actively going into your website and who see, yes, this is solving my problem. I want it. And you want it quickly. And truly the best exercise is to observe your own buying, like how you buy stuff. What are the brands that you like and why? Why are you drawn to them? And it's interesting to do this when they're not chocolate related. Like, pick the 3 or 4 brands that you really like and that you always refer back to and that you recommend because you genuinely like them. No one's paying you to do it. You genuinely like this. Like, and that happens to me all the time. When I'm super excited about something, I can't stop talking about it. And I tell all my friends, oh my God, you have to see this film. You have to buy this thing. You have to do this. And it just comes out natural. Why? Why are you drawn to specific brands? And why do you feel like you trust these specific brands? I think it's interesting to sort of analyze yourself and how you're doing this, and then see if you can apply it in your own, and keep it simple. Like, don't be intimidated by the blank page. Don't be intimidated by that voice that says you have to do it perfect. It has to be so good. Everyone has to love you. No, like, it's never going to happen. and then it's just too intimidating and you can't write anything. So
Yes,
relax,
I like,
write it.
right. I like that. Did you said to look at the brands that you like, but also look at the brands that maybe you don't trust and that you don't like, and see why, ask
Why?
yourself
Yeah.
why that is.
Yeah. And also give me the juicy stuff at the top. Don't tell me at the very end. Because nowadays no one has time, right? And you want like these, or like when you write a novel, you read the first page and you're like, yes, I'm so engaged. Like, you want to keep reading. That's what you want your newsletters and your copy to be. Like, and if you are like, if you think of yourself when you've chosen the 2 or 3 brands, sometimes what happens is like you truly feel like they're talking to you. It's like, how do they know? How do they know that I feel that way? How do they know that that's my problem? How do they know that that's what I was looking for? That's how you want your clients to feel. It's like, that's me.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to keep opening up the opportunity for the audience if they want to jump in, and if you have a question, a comment about the topic today.
And when they're all thinking, I also have a request. I don't know if it's appropriate or not. Like Cristina said, if you are using our machines and if you think you can say why you like our machines or what you don't like, feel free to send a small video, or I don't know, whatever way you want to send it. Or if you are shy and the video, send it in writing. We will really appreciate that.
And I don't think you should be shy about that. There's nothing wrong with, like, at the bottom of your newsletter, next time you send it to everybody saying, do you want to be featured in our little Cocotown video? We're adding testimonials. Like, you would add a testimonial for a restaurant you like. I mean, maybe not everybody's going to send it to you, but it's okay for people to tell you why they like what you're doing. And like, if you would write it for a few brands that you like, then other people will do it for you too. So, I mean, ask for it. I mean, we want these cool videos of people showing off their Cocotown machines. That's what we want to see.
Okay, guys, come on, let's go. Give us some questions.
At least tell us, did you like the presentation or not? Because it's so quiet, it feels.
I don't know if we want to know that.
I hope they did.
I'm just trying to create a conversation. That's all. Sorry, Cristina.
Yeah.
It was a good
Thank you, Mrs. Baloo.
No, it was a good presentation, Cristina. That's why we had so much conversation. But I just want everyone to participate and, like Annette did, at least share your website so other people can know. If you're a chocolate maker, or if you're, cocoa producer or farmer, anybody in the chain or any business you have, look up with this about getting some customers for you. This is like, getting some traction to your website and getting some exposure to yourself. So please feel free, at least, put it in the chat.
In the meantime, I'll ask a question. So my question is, you talked about choosing your channels. And in the panel that you had to choose your channels, there were so many options. What is an indicator that it's a good channel? Like, how do I, we have this, we have a company that we market. So we have this, kind of, how do you choose what channels are going to work for, right? What's an indicator of what's going to be a good channel when there's so many channels available? What's an indicator that, how do we pick the channel?
There is a bit of research that you can do, and how there's specific channels where people who are 29 and younger only do TikTok. If they're 30 to 45, then they do Instagram, and then they 45 to 65, then it's Facebook. And you have to do Wednesdays at 12 or Fridays at noon, because I don't think that there is one formula. I understand that there are social media channels that are directed for specific audiences. But I think a great exercise to do is to create your ideal customer, like to not only try and embody this ideal customer when you're writing your copy, but also to take the time for you to define who this person is, but go all the way to the details. What's their name? What do they look like? What's their personality like? Do they have a family? Where do they live? How do they talk? What are their dreams? What are their fears? And then do a bit of like a storyline. This is just for you. Do a bit of like a storyline of how they reach your product. And when you're choosing a channel, you also have to be realistic with the amount of time that you're going to invest, or the money, if you're going to hire someone to do this for you. If the thought of saying, okay, I'm going to start my business, I'm going to have my website, I'm going to have my newsletters, I'm going to have my blog, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. If your immediate feeling is, oh my God, no, then follow that feeling and always start smaller. If you're just going to stick to your website and your blog and your newsletter, and again, I think newsletters are the best way to engage, stick to that. If you use Instagram, then maybe you feel more comfortable using it. If you use Facebook, then you're going to feel more comfortable doing that. Or TikTok. I have to tell you this. I met this girl the other day, and she's an interior designer. And she said that she started doing videos on TikTok, and she has like 30,000 followers. And she started last month. I'm like, TikTok, can't be bothered to do a TikTok video. That sounds like so intimidating. But for her, it's come out so natural. She's found clients that way. But that's 1 out of 2 social media channels that she uses. So I would say, I'm thinking in Spanish, you say, el que mucho abarca, poco aprieta. Like if you try and do everything, then you're going to do all of them wrong. So start small, but start with the ones that you genuinely say, yes, I want to invest my time and my money on 1, 2, or these 3 channels. And I will commit to creating content and publishing it every week. And then you organize yourself to do it. But if the thought of it is like, you're just not going to do it, just like when you sign up at the gym and you're like, yes, I'm going to go every day, and you don't do it, start small. Say, I'm going to go to the gym once a week or once a month. It doesn't matter. It has to tie up with your personality. If you're a small business and you're doing everything, then you have to be mindful of your time and you have to be realistic, right? So for example, we've just chosen LinkedIn and Instagram, because to be honest, Vera and I are on Instagram all the time, and our newsletters. And for us, it's harder to be on Facebook, but part of our team were like, we only do Facebook. So we were like, okay, we'll do Facebook too, but we don't do any more. And we've committed ourselves to publishing on these, I don't know, 3 times a week. But there is no one formula that works for everything. And you have to keep testing it. You have to keep testing it. You have to see what the response is. And again, I promise you, I think newsletters are the best way to do it. Like your blogs and your newsletters, but don't write them out in a way so that you're just filling out space. There's so much information out there that it's like, you don't want to keep reading it. You want to help your clients. You want to help them solve something. You want it to be entertaining, and you want to give the juicy stuff at the beginning, because they're not going to read all the way to the end. It doesn't have to be a massive novel. It can be 2 paragraphs and a photo, or it could just be, what's his name? 𝗧𝗵𝗿. He does 3 lines every day, right? You have to find your style, and it's your personality. You tap into your customer, you do this journey, and be realistic. How much time am I going to invest? How much money am I going to invest? And stick to the plan. And look, if you say, I'm going to do it 3 times a week, and then you realize, well, actually, I can't do it 3 times a week. Now I'm a complete failure, then I can't do anything. No, it's okay. You started with 3 times a week, you can't do it, and you want to do it 1 time a week, that's fine. Right? But you have to test it out, and you just have to give it a go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. No one's perfect.
And if you've chosen a channel, how, and I guess I'm wondering, can you make a different choice? Let's say you've chosen Facebook and you're not getting any engagement, or it's not reaching, you know, you have 3,000 followers and it's only getting into the feed of 50 people. You know, how long do you give it a chance? And then, you know, is it okay to cut bait and move on to a different channel?
I mean, yes, experiment as much as possible. And also, this is why I keep saying that newsletters are the best thing, because you are subject to social media's policies. So the day that Facebook falls, and you only have your business on Facebook, then you've lost everything. Or on Instagram. And this has happened before, right? So don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And if you can, I think it's more reliable to rely on your website and your newsletters, because that's you controlling it's you controlling it. It's not Facebook or TikTok or whatever. And yes, experiment. Definitely.
Well, I appreciate it. I noticed a comment, and I just want to say, I think that these concepts and these ideas are relevant for anybody and everybody, anybody that's got a product to market in any market.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I think, and you have to be honest. I think really bringing people along your journey is so much more, like, it's so much value added. Like if I show you how we make our chocolate, why we think it's special, and we bring you into our kitchen, and we show you how we test our recipes, and we show you how sometimes we don't have a good day, like maybe not everybody's going to like us, but some people are going to say, oh, we're actually quite interested. We might go visit them in 𝗪𝗪𝗏 one day. You never know.
Yeah, I liked the idea of what you said about, you know, maybe I'm not doing something the best I would like to do it, and I'm growing, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to do, and bringing the consumer, the potential customer along with you on that journey. It sounds interesting and brave. Yeah, I kind of got like a feeling of, oh, that's scary, because you're sort of showing that, you know, like you said, you don't have to be perfect, and you're showing, you know, don't be afraid to be real, and show that, you know, that when you know better, you're going to do better. And this is how we're learning, right? We're getting to know better so we can do better. And we're going to show you how we're doing that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cristina Wuna commented, yes, enjoyed the presentation. Thank you all. Sorry for being so silent. Social anxiety getting the best of me this morning. Okay. I think also I don't know if still some people have a problem accessing the chat. If that's a problem, at least raise your hand so we know if you are able to chat or not. Because in the beginning, somebody said they could not use the chat. And then somebody said, we are not shy. The topic is new to us when we are mostly within the USA and Latin America marketplaces, whereas Cristina is dealing with the European marketplaces, where transparency, marketing strategies, and customers know a lot about chocolate. In other words, are more thoughtful, or simply put, reliable connoisseurs. I got family in Belgium, France, and Germany. It's not easy for me to export my chocolate bars from USA to Europe. I know the craft chocolate producer in Costa Rica who exports to Germany just because she makes her chocolate from A to Z by hands, 100%.
Erin, I promoted you to talk if you would like. Don't have to, but I did if you would like.
Oh, okay. Yep. I was just responding to Mrs. Balu's note, but yes, no, this is about the 3rd or 4th one of these I've sat in, and it's fantastic. Always learning every time. I'm working on a drinking chocolate business here in Seattle. So I'm learning and doing as I go. So This is great. Thank you.
What's it called? What's your brand called?
Working on that.
Okay. Nice, nice.
Well, and it's actually, so that brings up I'll tell you what I tentatively am calling it. It's called 𝗪𝗏𝗁𝗃𝗏𝗃, which sounds very goofy. And part of the tagline is awkward to say, awesome to drink. But
Love it.
and that's,
Love it.
and that goes to the genuine nature of my, I guess I'm injecting my goofy humor into it. So this kind of struck a chord to be genuine and all of that, and be authentic. And yeah, so it encouraged me, because I know I'm very much questioning the name, but I like it. So
It's nice. I like it. I love the tagline.
Yes, I love it.
It's very
it translates
creative.
to I like chocolate a lot in a fake language.
Oh,
Love it.
See, the tagline is very, very clever and creative. I think you should go with the name.
We'll
Mhm.
see.
Nice. And why drinking chocolate?
Oh, that's a great question. I stopped drinking coffee a few years back. I just kind of messed with me in ways I wasn't happy with. So I love tea and all the varieties that there are, but it just doesn't hit the same way in the morning, when you wake up and you want that kind of bold drink. So I thought, well, I love cocoa, but I don't want all the sugar that goes along with cocoa. And I, over time, concocted this product. Oh, I should say it's actually a spiced dark drinking chocolate. So it's 85% dark chocolate and a variety of spices. And I have different varieties actually. But yeah, it kind of fits the bill for that morning drink you want. It's bold and flavorful. You can customize it just like you would your cup of coffee. Add whatever kind of milk you want, but there's very little sugar besides what's in the dark chocolate. So yeah, that's how I ended up with.
Nice.
And I couldn't find it anywhere. It's not in stores. It's
Yeah.
not available. So I thought, I work in food. I'm a food technologist. I've worked in food manufacturing for my career. So I thought, well, I can make it.
Aaron?
But I don't know how to start a business. So that's what I'm working on.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm sold. I'm ready to buy.
You guys have been so helpful. I have to send you some.
I'm ready to buy.
Aaron, have you heard about also the cacao juice? Because recently there is a lot of
No.
commotion going on it. It's people are saying there's going to be the new coconut water. the
Oh,
coconut
interesting.
water.
The cow juice.
Yeah,
I had
really.
not.
If you're doing the drinking chocolate, like hot chocolate, you should also have some cold drinks. So think about, the cacao juice.
Okay, that's very interesting. What I did hear about yesterday, I took a local chocolate class, and I think it was, it might have been berry, I don't know, but somebody's coming out with a chocolate, and the sweetener is from the, well, I'll call it the goo of the chocolate. They actually make yeah. That's how my limited knowledge is on this, but yes, so I thought that was interesting to use more of the bean pod.
Wow, so they're turning it into using it as a sweetener.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what they must be using in this chocolate, and it gives it a
Interesting.
little bit more of an acidic flavor, I thought. But yeah, neat idea.
Yeah.
I use that same technical term, the goo. So you don't feel all alone. I use that when I'm telling people about it. The goo.
I'm
Gotta
not
have
alone.
it, right? It's like very valuable. It's part of what ferments the chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Ferments the beans,
Yeah.
that goo.
It's a complimentary name, the goo. Yeah.
Yes, gotta have it.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Good luck.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
good luck. We look forward to seeing it.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Jay said she enjoyed your presentation, Cristina, and then somebody said thank you. Yeah, so
That was
I
me.
just wanted to do that so that people can start, okay.
All right, we're getting close to the top of the hour. So
Yeah. Anybody else? Roya, do you want to talk or let me see if
Roya has a very strong why.
Arvuna, Una, are you ready to talk? Raise your hand. I am allowing to talk. Oh, where is it? I think
Here
they
she comes. Here
There
they
we go.
come.
There we go. Hi, Una.
Uh-oh. I wonder if their mic isn't working.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe Roya raised her hand, so maybe we can allow her to talk in the meantime, and then when Una can come.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sorry about that. Earlier, I had a lot of back noise, so I couldn't, talk about that. First, thank you so much for these great webinars. I'm still learning, and that means a lot to me that Coco Town has this kind of very informative webinars. Thanks, Cristina, 𝗬𝗏𝗯𝗶, and everybody. Yeah, I have a kind of product. It's called Datelet. So it's a combination of dates and chocolate. And the why is that I grew up in a kind of family that my mom is a diabetic person. So we always used to have dates. So, and I'm originally from the Persia, so the Middle East countries. So back there, dates is everyday treat.
Mhm.
So we always used to have dates at home, and I'm a chocolate lover too. And then at university, I studied actually food science. And I remember those days, all the units regarding the chocolate, I used to take them. And then, yeah, finally, I, come up with this idea that, okay, why not we can have a better alternative chocolate for the people who stopped eating chocolate, because they say, oh, chocolate is not healthy. No, chocolate is healthy, and then we can have that. Yeah, that's the Datelet came to the world.
Nice.
And then I don't know how to say the name. 𝗬𝗏𝗋𝗋 or 𝗬𝗏𝗋𝗋. You want to talk? Or Jessica, Catherine, Katrina, Marilyn, Mark, any of you?
Well, while we wait to see if anyone wants to talk, I like to ask this question: what one thing would you want us to what if you could just give us one thing to take away from this conversation would be the most important thing that you want people to remember about, sort of, well, the one thing that you want us to remember. If we could only get one key takeaway, what would you want it to be?
That's a really good question. I think it's important to be honest with yourself in what you're doing. I think defining your why for yourself before you communicate it with anyone is the first thing that I would work on. Why are you doing what you're doing? And write it out in a way so that it's just for you. Don't think about anyone else reading it, because this will come through in everything you do. It will dictate all of your messaging. It will come through. So defining why you do what you do. What is it, the thing that motivates you? Because I mean, you guys know this, when you run a business, there's a lot of difficult things that happen along the way. So if you don't have something that truly motivates you, then it's very easy to give up. So I would say define this and be true to yourself. Like no one has to read it. It's just for you, because it'll come through. And don't be intimidated by creating the messages that you want to share. But again, be true to yourself. What is it that you really want to share? What's important to you? And have these conversations to be just with yourself, not thinking, are people gonna like what I'm doing? Because then it'll change it. So be true to yourself because it'll come through, and don't be intimidated when you're writing out your messages, and you can keep coming back to them. And I think take advantage of the fact that if you are in the craft world, it's very easy to reach out to people, connect, and bring people along your journey. I think I put a lot of things in there, but I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yes. Mrs. 𝗵𝗵, you're on mute.
Sorry, somebody else raised their hand, so they
Yes. I think that's our friend. That's our friend from Hungary, if I remember correctly.
I think their mic is open, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I think you can speak now.
If you need to turn on your mic, you can minimize the screen. You probably don't have to close Zoom if you're on your computer. If you're on your phone, you might have to. But if you're on your computer, you can minimize the screen and go to your settings. We can see that your mic is open, but we don't hear you. If you have a comment or a question, do you want to put it in the chat for us? I mean, ideally, we'd love to hear you, but. We wanted to give you the last word.
I think she or he dropped out because I don't see them in the, when they tried to minimize, maybe they got, logged out of the Zoom, looks like. Okay, I think it's top of the hour. I think if nobody else has anything, we can come, close the conversation, right? Okay.
Okay.
I think.
Well, from my side, I just want to thank you. I think this has been amazing. I'm still a huge fan of your brand, and I love how you guys communicate and bring people together. So thank you for inviting us. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And if anyone needs anything, you can always get in touch with us. I think I could also drop you my, I was going to drop you my LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to connect, you can do that as well.
And I have a question. I know you're working on your business, your new
chocolate shop.
Yep, your new chocolate shop. But if someone needed some marketing help, are you available for consultation?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I can do that too. My partner heard me talking about the chocolate shop, so he quickly pushed one of the boxes that we have. So I'm going to show you. It's one of the big boxes.
Oh, beautiful!
It's cool, isn't it? We've just printed them out.
Oh, I love it.
The idea is that you'll be able to choose different bars, and you can put them in the little box, and then you can take them away as a little present.
Oh, I love it. Mrs. 𝗵𝗵 wants to know if it's recyclable. I would put it on my bookshelf. I have a container fetish, so I love any kind of container. So once the chocolate is gone, I do. Anything that contains boxes, anything that holds something, even if it's empty, I like it.
We've made them in a way so that people actually want to keep them and use them as a container. So I love that you said container fetish, because I think I might use that in our communication now.
Right. So you just, once it's empty of chocolate, it can go on it's nice to go on a bookshelf, or
Exactly.
Put some baubles in it, put some anything in it. Or when next time I come to your shop, I bring it empty and I put the chocolate in it and I carry it back away with the new chocolate in it.
Well, a thing that we are gonna implement, which might inspire other people, is if you bring your chocolate bar back to the shop, you can refill it with another chocolate bar. So you have a little discount and you don't have to buy the packaging again.
Oh, that's a great
That's
idea.
a sustainability.
Yes.
Reuse the packaging. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I would put a little Velcro on that, put a handle on it, and carry that as a purse. Just saying. I'm just saying.
I think we're gonna have to send you one.
I'm there too.
Send you two. I'll send you two.
We have like 8 employees there, so.
Okay, I'll send 8.
Erin said a very nice presentation, both the marketing transparency and the chocolate box for lower carb. And then,
thank
yeah,
you.
they said, their system restarted. Oh, okay, if they want to talk now, young go. I think their mic open.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's finally. Sorry, my system, the Zoom installed somehow and they threw me out. But I'm back. So hello, and thank you, Cristina, and thank you, Ms. Balu, that it was a really nice opportunity that you could be here. And Cristina, your presentation was really nice. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
I am from Hungary, so and I had a small chocolate company a few years ago, but some business reason here in the governmental reason I need to close it. But my passion was and still keep for the chocolate, and that's the reason why I am searching the opportunities always to heal and learn from the chocolate. And it was very motivating that how you speak about everything about how it can be sustainable and everything. So I love to hear. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
If you don't mind, can you tell how to tell your name, because we mispronounced it, I think.
Yes, it's difficult. It's a typical Hungarian name. It's 𝗬𝗍𝗻𝗋.
𝗬𝗍𝗻𝗋.
Yes, it's have a nice meaning because 𝗬𝗍 in Hungarian means pearl and 𝗍𝗻 means blood, so it's pearl blood. It's translated.
𝗬𝗍𝗻𝗋, okay. Because we didn't know if it's like a Spanish, we had to say 𝗬𝗍𝗻𝗃 or.
It's typical Hungarian name.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Somebody said Vinette said, it's a great idea, written up package for a discount. And Jay said, I would like that too, because we already included her. We didn't want to miss any of our employees.
I feel like you should maybe have a company trip to the Basque Country, maybe.
Yeah, we should start doing it. Go to one country every year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do a chocolate tour every year.
That's one of the reasons why I love these Zooms, because we can travel the world. And not that we don't want to actually travel the world, but we are able to, bring people together from all over the world. And that brings me to, I just want to give a quick plug for some of the upcoming webinars. We'll be talking next month, the 13th of August, Saturday, with Fire Mountain Chocolate. That would be 𝗕𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗵. Yeah. They are in UK, but they source their beans from Cameroon, from a region that is near volcano. So they're growing their cocoa in an interesting type of environment. And then following that, we'll be talking with what's her name, Mrs. Balu Monica from 𝗪𝗵𝗆. And we'll be talking about
chocolates.
Yes. And we'll be talking with them about Mrs. Balu, can you refresh my memory?
She's going to talk about like colonialism and chocolate and the perspective we have this in Latin America.
Yes, about Mesoamerica and yes. And then we'll go one more ahead, another month on the 3rd of September. We'll be talking with 𝗪𝗫𝗂𝗋𝗍𝗶 from
Cacao runners.
yeah, from Cocoa Runners, another marketing conversation. Actually, Cristina and Nick, we were introduced, I was introduced to the two of you during 𝗬𝗂𝗃𝗃, virtual 𝗬𝗂𝗃, where I learned so much and similar to this conversation. So we're really grateful for that. And thank you so much. And thank Vera for us as well. She had to get another appointment. So she made an appearance to give a little talk at the beginning and then she had to go. So our deep gratitude to both of you for joining us. And as always, to our attendees, Mrs. 𝗪𝗲 says, without you, these, we can't do these without you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Stay safe and healthy. Just 𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏. See you in the next webinar.
Yes.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.